Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Estela, we have a quorum. Can you make the call, please?
Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop and a regular meeting on Tuesday, November the 3rd, 2009, at 5:45 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Workshop item A, discussion regarding Project Vita.
Commissioner Camarillo, is there somebody representing who can do the workshop?
Yes, I believe we have some representatives from Vida. Want to please step forward?
Thank you for being here. Stella, could I have the USB for the meeting, please?
Before they do begin the presentation, I want to just congratulate you all on receiving that grant or the matching grant through the State Comptroller's Office. I believe everybody got an email on that. Part of that, I think, is due to what GBIC has done to help fund Vida and the other monies that Project Vida has leveraged with other organizations. So I'm very appreciative, and I want to congratulate you all for doing such a great work and ensuring that you all will be able to help more individuals through your all's organization. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Camarillo, and thank all of you for the support that you've rendered to Project Vida. My name is Mayra Garcia, and I'm the Executive Director for Project Vida. And we're here before you once again to extend our appreciation for the support that the City of Brownsville has provided to Vida, and more specifically the support that you've provided the underserved population, the residents of the City of Brownsville, through Vida. And as a general introduction for those that I haven't spoken to personally, Project Vida's objective, our mission, is to assist the underserved population in the community gain access to training vis-a-vis associate's degrees and or vocational training programs through the local colleges. Underserved defined as those individuals that are unemployed, underemployed, and on public assistance. Through the work that we've done with GBIC, the City of Brownsville, and the BEDC, we have served over the last 3.5 years nearly 140 residents of the City of Brownsville. In the packages that we put at your stations, there's a breakdown of each of one of those individuals, the programs of studies, and the by district, so that you can see that the service that we render is distributed completely throughout the area of Brownsville. And it also shows you what the average wages are at placement. So you have, for example, in District 1, the average wage is $17.89 for those individuals from that district that have graduated through a program in a demand occupation. For those individuals in District 2, it's $14.37. In District 3, it's $17.67. In District 4, it's $12.53. And so as you can see, the investment that the City of Brownsville is making in these individuals is bringing them from unemployed and on public assistance to gainfully employed, where they're able to contribute vis-a-vis their disposable income back into the community. We, just to give you an idea of Vida in general terms, we serve the 4-county region, and we served in last fiscal year 711 individuals. So those individuals that were served out of Brownsville represents about 12% of the full caseload that we have. 64% of the people that we serve are female, 97%, not surprisingly, are Hispanic. 65% are the ages 26 to 45. Again, that's a very important number because there's a lot of dollars in our communities that are available for K through 12. This is an adult population that has traditionally been out of the classroom environment for a very long time. And so to get them back in when they already have family obligations is a daunting task and a huge commitment on their behalf. and they're still very young, so they can be very viable contributors to the economy. So 65% of the people we serve are 26 to 45 years old. 61% of our participants have children. 25% are single parents. 44% of the individuals that we serve are on public assistance, and 70% of the people that we serve are right at or below the national poverty guidelines. As Commissioner Camarillo said, we're very, very excited that VIDA was awarded 2 grants from the State Controller's Office. It's called the Jobs, Employment, and Training for Texans, Every Chance for Every Texan Fund. And basically the most important guidelines that they used to make that decision on who would be funded were poverty levels and unemployment rates. And whereas I think that all of us recognize that we are living in a privileged area as compared to what other places in the country are going through, you know, even in the midst of a downturn in the national economy, we still, in the Rio Grande Valley, still see very real signs of growth and prosperity. But the average poverty level in our 4-county region is 35%. And it's the work that we're able to do through the support from cities like Brownsville that we're able to address that in small portions, but each one of the individuals that we serve are moving outside of that statistic and moving into good paying jobs where they can sustain their families, get away from public assistance, and set an example for their children so that they too can look at college as a way for a better quality of life. The specific programs that we will be sponsoring through the JET Fund for Cameron County, the award was for $300,000. And the specific jobs or careers are computer and information sciences, science technologies, construction trades. A lot of that we're working with UTB, TSC to define the green components so that they become green jobs, and we can all of our local businesses can compete for some of those dollars that are out there if they say that they're hiring people with green capabilities, green skill sets. So the mechanical and repair technologies and the health professions and related clinical sciences. And so it's pretty much a very well-rounded area that we'll be serving with the JET funds, and it required that we have leveraged dollars from the communities so that it's not just that our communities or certain sectors of our communities are supportive of educating the workforce and developing a more skilled workforce as an intricate part of economic development, but that there's actually a vested commitment that they are partners in that process. And I'm available for any questions that you might have. I said a whole lot, but.
I just want to say that I appreciate you all putting together the spreadsheet of the participants in the program, those that have graduated and those that have yet to graduate. I'm sure it's not for political reasons, but I think for each of us here, it puts things into perspective. The individuals that we are assisting, and I think that's very important. We want to see the individuals in our districts have jobs and support their families and do well and advance themselves, and so this list does that, and so I do appreciate that. I think it's significant, and I think everyone here is well represented in terms of the individuals that are being participated and funded to keep moving forward. So I appreciate that. And again, I think you all have done a tremendous job, and hopefully y'all can keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
I'll be honest with you, when Project VIDA first came to us a couple of years ago, I was kind of hesitant as to whether city involvement and city monies were to be, funded through or funneled to these kinds of programs. But over the years, I've thus been educated and I've thus been informed. And by looking at your list, right off the bat, I knew 9 of the individuals that were recipients of these monies. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the impact, and when we've gotten our reports back from GBIC as to the impact that you all are having on this community through this program, all I can say is thank you for having educated me, for having brought this before us. And thank you for the impact that this program is providing, not just for the Valley, but for Brownsville and for our citizens and for our people. So for all your accolades and for everything, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Sincerely, congratulations for everything that you all have done. Thank you for bringing this to Brownsville and for having maintained it. And we look forward to a very, very prosperous relationship with Project Vida over the future so that we may continue to help not just these individuals, but more individuals, and hopefully through the city, through GBIC, and through grants, we might be able to continue to fund and help all these other students continue to get through school. So from my behalf and on behalf of everybody here, thank you so very much for what you've done.
Thank you so much,
you.
Commissioner. I appreciate that very
A
much.
question, are there
Yes.
other grants out there that you can apply for if you had the resources to do so?
Yes, ma'am. We, also in your package, the very last page, is a summary of a grant that we actually joined forces so that we would be more competitive. It's called Pathways Out of Poverty Grant, and it's out of the Department of Labor. And what we did is there were 6 agencies that joined forces so that we could put together a regional proposal. This regional proposal will cover 4 states. It covers Texas, obviously, through ourselves, one of our sister organizations in Austin named Capital Idea, another named Quest out of San Antonio, and then it has an organization out of California, the name escapes me, one in Louisiana. And so it's a very, very aggressive. The grant in its totality is a $6.2 million grant, of which, if funded the way that it's been proposed, Vida would get $1 million of that. And it requires, that was a very interesting grant because it not only required leverage funding, but it required, now when you write grants, a lot of people are used to getting letters of support.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't fly on this grant. It required a letter of commitment by all of the parties, the Workforce Commission boards, the colleges, the counties, the cities, and so it's a very, very aggressive grant. I'm hopeful that we will be recipients of it, and it is focused on green jobs.
Wonderful. Very
I have
good.
a question. Does GBIC provide you with any guidelines or requirements once the money is awarded to your organization?
Yes, what we do with BEDC and all of the other EDCs that fund us, because there are 12, and then the County of Hidalgo, we're very hopeful that this year Cameron County would also come in and fund the effort. But we receive, there are demand occupations as defined by the state, as defined by the local workforce boards, and obviously defined by the different organizations like the EDCs specifically. So we work with them to find out if there's a certain segment that they would like us to focus on. I know that in Brownsville, we have Jason Heltz from BEDC has said that they would like for us to be able to fund those programs of studies that can transition into and be used with incremental training in the aviation industries. So we work with the different communities to find out if there's a unique interest, a unique requirement that they have. At this point, but for BEDC and one other, which is Mission, who's asked us to help them with the oil and gas exploration and production, welding more specifically. Everyone else pretty much goes with the demand occupations as defined by the workforce boards and the state.
And of those monies awarded by GBIC, are they specifically earmarked for Brownsville projects, job training?
They are specifically
for Brownsville.
for Brownsville. Every single person that is funded by GBIC money is from Brownsville.
Thank you.
Commissioner
And that
Brown?
was another reason why we put that list together, to make sure that it had the clarity and transparency that you would need to feel comfortable with that.
Commissioner Trani, any comments for Project Vida?
No, not this time. Other than we support Project Vida, and we think it's a good organization.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so
Thank
very
you,
much for your
Thank
presentation.
you very much for your
Thank you.
time.
At this
And-
time, we'll continue with our regular meeting. Stella? I'll ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you so much for your heart for Brownsville and for each one of us individually. Lord, we thank you for your love and your grace. Help us not to abuse that grace, but to seek to do your will in every part of our lives. Lord, we ask for complete discernment about the issues for each one of us tonight. Help each one of us to realize that our colleagues may have something to add to each issue, to listen carefully and show each other complete respect. Lord, we thank you and praise you for this city. We ask that the best be done for Brownsville tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
And right before we begin with our meeting, if those people that are watching at home live, you still have an hour left to go vote on the Texas constitutional amendments. So if anybody has not done so, we would ask. There's been a very low voter turnout. I know I went and voted this afternoon, and my mom and I were 19 and 20 at our precincts. So turnout has been very low. So if anybody's watching and has not done so, you have an hour that you can still go to the polls and go cast your vote on the Texas Constitution amendments.
At the same polling locations you usually
Yes,
went at.
correct. We'll wait upon the mayor's arrival for his H1N1 virus report. Commissioner's report, Commissioner Charlie Atkinson. I believe he's in the back somewhere still.
Not sure.
All right, well, Commissioner Camarillo?
Just a quick update. Last Wednesday, we held a H1N1 health fair at the Westside Community Network Station on 281. I want to thank Dr. Bani, Dr. Hussein, and Mr. Bustos, who helped coordinate the event for the area, for the residents in the area. We had quite a bit of participants, a number of home health agencies. All three of the hospitals were represented, which I thought was very, very important. And I think the presentation that was made in bilingual was very, very informative, very understandable to everyone. And it really just provided some education that I think you can never have too much of. So I want to thank them for their help in taking part of this initiative, and I appreciate their support and wanting to educate the folks of Brownsville. So I want to thank them. 2 weeks ago, we had a LRGV DC meeting, and PUB presented to the board the desal plan, and they talked about the efforts that PUB had made on desalination, and quite a bit of information was discussed and shared with the board, which I thought was very, very important, considering at the last meeting we had information from the San Antonio Water District. So appreciate PUB's help providing information on the desal plant, and I think everybody took quite a bit from that meeting. So I want to thank PUB and John Bruzek for making that happen. Last weekend, we had the Walk for the Future with BISD. It was a great event. We had the opportunity to go door to door to some folks' homes and try to target the students that had dropped out of school for whatever reason. It was a great moment. One of the highlights, I believe, for me was walking into an apartment complex, really not knowing which door we were knocking on because it wasn't clear at the time. But when we got to the apartment and the mom opened the door and we asked if her son was here, well, obviously she got very scared. She thought her son had did something wrong. But what was positive about it was she was very excited that her son was back in school, and that was going to help BISD in terms of the points that they accumulate to provide that information back to the state to help lower that dropout rate, which helps them in many different ways. The mother was very proud of her son, and she even went and took a certificate of the courses and modules that her son had completed. And I thought that was a special moment, that regardless of what our sons or daughters do, parents will be parents, and she was very supportive of her son, and I thought that was just something very special. So I appreciate BISD and Mr. Springston and all the folks at BISD for what they did, and hopefully we can continue to do these things in the future to help our kids come back to school. Finally, I have the privilege of coordinating the Texas Recycle Day event, which is scheduled for Saturday, November the 14th. This year we're going to do something a little bit differently. The events have usually been coordinated at a park, and this year I thought we'd kind of do something different, and we're going to host it at the City of Brownsville's Recycling Center on Elizabeth Street. We're going to give tours to the people that come of the recycling center, and believe it or not, we do have a recycling center. We're going to clean the facility up a little bit. I want to thank Public Works for helping us with that. But we're also going to establish a 24/7 recycling at our center, and that's never been done, and we're going to do that. And so Public Works is very instrumental in making that happen. So on the 14th, we will launch a 24/7 recycling container for the city of Brownsville, and I'm very excited about that. We'll have volunteers cleaning and picking up recyclables that day, and we will have tables, informational booths for individuals that want to talk about recycling and share in their efforts of what they do in the community. And finally, we're going to take our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and we're going to plug them into H-E-B's and Walmarts, and we're going to give out 1,000 reusable City of Brownsville bags. And I want to thank BBC for funding that and making the Brownsville reusable bag. We're going to give those out to people and then educate them to use these bags instead of a plastic bag. So that event that day will be multi-purpose, but I think it'll send a strong message across the city of what we want to do and why it's important to recycle and reuse and again, beautify our community. So if you all are interested in volunteering, we're in need of volunteers for Saturday, November the 14th. You'll see announcements coming real soon. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Commissioner, it's truly a very well-out report, and congratulations on everything that you're doing for this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll continue with proclamations. Proclamation. As this community knows, we had this past week the very tragic loss of a very dear member of our community, Mr. Barry T. Horn, and at this time, Commissioner Melissa Zamora will present a proclamation in his honor.
Is the family here? Maybe running late. I was told they were going to be here today.
We'll
If
wait,
they're not
see
here,
if the, we'll
Commissioner-
wait, see if the family shows, and if
Yes,
not, we
please.
can move it on to the next
Thank you.
City Commission meeting. White Cane Safety Day, is there anybody here for that?
That was the mayor's proclamation.
Yes, but nobody's here to receive
Not
it?
that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, well, we'll continue. Charlie Kabler, presentations, Employee of the Month.
Our Employee of the Month is here. Please help me welcome Michael Franklin. Michael works under Robert Esparza at the Traffic Department. He's one of our traffic signal technicians. We were blessed to get Michael to come to Brownsville from Victoria, Texas 5 years ago.
Welcome.
And as you know, our big responsibility now is the ever-ending issues with our traffic signals throughout the city. Michael has came to the city with some expertise in this field, and he has taken on the challenge of training a lot of the people that we do hire there, and he does the assignments for people that do report to certain areas of the city to work on our traffic signals, et cetera. Has worked on technology, synchronization, and things like that for us. He's very reliable. Obviously, we have issues after working hours, nighttime, and he's always available to us. He always responds and helps us out, and he's godsend as far as we're concerned, because a lot of these issues with our traffic lights is an expertise that obviously most of us can't go out there and repair. But we're hoping he stays here with us a very long time. He is the Employee of the Month for November. We're getting close to the banquet in December where we will announce the Employee of the Year. He is eligible for that. For now, he gets the Employee of the Month. Okay. Here's your plaque in recognition for outstanding service rendered to the City of Brownsville. Michael Franklin, Employee of the Month for November. Okay.
Congratulations.
So once we may have a cap that matches. Oh, okay. And the Employee of the Month pin. Okay. And the Employee, okay. Michael's been asked to condense his speech to 5 minutes. Michael, congratulations.
Okay, thank you. City Commissioners, I would just like to say that I'm honored to accept this award. I would like to thank Mr. Esparza. I enjoy working with the Traffic Department, and I'm very proud to be a city employee. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At this time, I'd like to return to Commissioners' reports and allow Mr. Charlie Atkinson to give his reports.
I'm going to pass right
Okay. Stella?
Okay, we have consent agenda items A through F.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Gowan. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint one member to the Parks Advisory Board.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to appoint Mrs. Medi Hagee to the Parks Board.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo to appoint Ms. Mary Hagee, and a second by Commissioner Melissa Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 7, consideration and action to appoint a city commissioner to the city's audit committee to replace former city commissioner Leonel Garza.
I'd like to see.
I'd like to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Commissioner Longoria to serve on the city's audit committee.
I have a motion by Commissioner Edward Camarillo to nominate Commissioner Ricardo Longoria for the City Audit Committee, a second by Commissioner Charlie Atkinson. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 8, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint one member to the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation.
Commissioner, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Rafael Carrasco.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Zamora to nominate Mr. Ramiro Carrasco for the GBIC Board, a second by Commissioner Gowan. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint one member to the Brownsville Beautification Committee.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to appoint Ms. Delilah Garcia to the Brownsville Beautification Advisory Board.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Camarillo to appoint Ms. Delilah
Garcia?
Garcia, and a second by Commissioner Melissa Zamora. All in favor, answer by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Did our member to the GBIC Board, did he submit an application?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Okay. Not a problem. Thank you. We'll continue, we'll move on to public comment still.
Item number 10 is public comment.
We'll begin with Ms. Laura Steinberg. That's in reference to the toll road.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Laurel Steinberg. I live at 613 West St. Charles Street. I'm here to oppose the construction of a limited access tolled highway on the soon-to-be abandoned Union Pacific Railroad right-of-way. And I represent many other citizens who live near the right-of-way and who live elsewhere. Some of them are here tonight. I wish to remind you of your excellent resolution that you passed last February when you voted to oppose the construction of this road. The Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority is still proceeding with the design of this project and is appealing to citizens to support it. I hope that the city will use its influence to stop this road from being built. A few weeks ago, the commissioners here and the city lawyer, attorney, Mr. Sosi, said that you would be investigating the terms of the railroad's deed to see if the CCRMA does actually have the right to get control of this land. Many citizens are eager to hear the results of this investigation. Please remember that if such a road is built, it will be a constant visual and audible presence in many residential areas. Once the cement is poured, it is permanent. While many municipalities are trying to remove highways from their cities, let's not go backwards and put a highway through our city, only a mile or less from an existing highway and only a few feet from many people's houses. This road is really only a bypass through our city. It is not a road to serve our citizens, but to move people to distant places. And not to mention that the toll only adds insult to injury. It is not necessary to ruin our neighborhoods for traffic to pass through the city. Brownsville, please don't pass up the wonderful opportunity that we have to use this 8 miles creatively to beautify and enhance the city, to connect neighborhoods that have long been separated. The promise of moving the railroad was once a vision of a quiet and green Brownsville. Now it is an omen of impending doom for those of us who live in earshot of its 24/7 traffic and noise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Steinberg.
Thank you.
Mr. Alex Resendez?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Alex Resendez. Most of you already know me. We come here because we serve the people of Brownsville. But if you all don't listen to us, and you all are not effective of the problems that we have in Brownsville and the citizens of Brownsville, then it's no use us coming here. I saw a lady on a tricycle, and I think it was 802, or it was right here, like going over there to the Militar, but it was that big street that goes that way. And this lady in the tricycle, she was in the middle of the street con la tricycle, ¿verdad? Y la pobrecita señora is an old lady, you know, and she's driving her tricycle. And my wife says, look, honey, they're going to run over her. I said, no, she's doing fine. She's in the middle of the road. There's 3 lanes over here, 3 lanes over there. She says, no, but she's riding en la calle donde se van a hacer para voltear, where they're going to turn, you know. And this was an old lady, Anglo lady, real nice old lady, you know, and she was very glad riding on a tricycle. The thing is this, I saw to the one side, and there was no sidewalks. No sidewalks. Estoy hablando de la calle que va así como que vas para el Militar. There's no sidewalks. The reason there's no sidewalks is because the grass is about that tall. There's a little vederitas where people can walk, but no bicycle can go by there. If you try to walk, you can't walk. You gotta fall into the street. Now, I heard good news. Well, at least I talked to Robert Esparza, que trabaja con ustedes, traffic department or something. He fixes streets or something. I just talked to him. And he gave me a good explanation about Morrison Road. Morrison Road, I came out here quite some time back. There's a lady there, she's got un restaurante, and she keeps telling me, yo voy como hay caldo y todo. It's real nice soup that she's got there. And she says, Mr. Resendez, you told them, but they haven't done anything. Those things are still there. Right at the academy, ustedes tienen unos big bordos así, dividiendo la calle. I talked to Robert Esparza. He gave me a very good explanation. Robert Esparza, I think he works with you all. And he said, Mr. Resendez, unless we widen the Morrison Road, which is going to take a long time to do that, to widen la calle, we're not going to be able to do that. And if you all know, right there at the academy, there's no way that the person, if you want to turn, you got to go all the way that way and then come back. Está muy mal. I understand Morrison Road's got a lot of work to be done todavía. ¿Me entiendes? And this is just a small complaint that I want to address to you all. También les había traído yo hace tiempo para atrás un place where they got a whole bunch of cruises. People been getting killed over there. You just gave un certificado a la persona que hace traffic lights. I don't know if you all put a traffic light over there or not. Danish Road or something, it's a very popular road donde se matan. Ahí están matando cada rato. Un señor me dijo, ya se mataron otra vez, Resendez, why don't you go tell them? We try to serve the people. Tratamos de servirle a la gente. May the Lord bless you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Fernando Ruiz?
Apologies for being a little late. I was in McAllen, we had to get back to the meeting. Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon. Commissioners, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fernando Ruiz. I have for the past 3 or 4 days, since last Thursday, under the Freedom of Information Act, tried to, with the proper agency here for the city, to obtain information concerning Texas Service Gas. I have many questions that have not been answered. I applied for this information, and I was addressed, you know, that they're going to go do this research. It's going to cost me $15 an hour, and they make a big, long story, you know, instead of being familiar with the law. We have to be familiar with the Freedom of Information Act. And, you know, this has been stipulated that we have to have personnel that know what they're doing because they have to follow the law. It's not about what they want to do or what I need. It's what the law says. you know? And it's a shame, you know, because it's very important, because I have, in a comparative study, this is the instrument that was given to me here in the city of Brownsville. And I had to go to a city 35 miles away from here, and they gave me all the information they needed in a matter of just requesting it over the phone. And when I got there, there was no charge, there was no intimidation, there was none of this long story, make a short story, whatever. You know, I do this because I do research before I come here and address this honorable commission, because I come with facts. And I have tried to understand what is the business of Texas service gas to us and to the people that consume gas, especially in the neighborhoods where they don't have all electric homes, like in the southmost area, et cetera, in your areas. These people are supposed to be buying gas under the economies of scale, which are supply and demand. You know, when the prices are high, we still have to pay the prices, but if the cost of gas goes down, well, so does the price have to come down for the consumer. But I do not understand what the city has to do as an intermediate purchasing gas from me from another person. You have no business there whatsoever. And you know, as I have been reading all this information, which is more precise than what they gave me here in the city, it says here that this person or whoever is dealing with you, which you remember very well when I first addressed this issue was in March of this year, when I told you that I had seen in the paper a chart that they were going to increase the gas for from La Jolla to Brownsville, that it would be intelligent if we could get all the, somebody representing each city so that we could get together and purchase gas as one entity so that we could have volume, and when you have volume, you have a better price. But this is all contrary to business knowledge. I mean, these people wrote their ticket. You know, I've seen it also because I live in Municipal District number 3 over there in Hudson. That guy wrote his ticket, you know, and the commission at that time and the mayor just signed it over to Mr. Hudson. And I'm not going to permit that this happen to the people, because right now the people are very oppressed. They don't have any money, not even to eat. They have lost their jobs. And if we can save them money, and it's our obligation, it's our obligation to make sure that they get the best price. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
So you just got here.
Thank you. Mr. Oreste.
Roberto Oreste, 1220 Calle Pluton, Galaxia. I have 3 major concerns. Number 1, on the Library Central, $25,000 for a tree to be put in there because the other tree was not pretty, so they cut it out, brought in a humongous, I don't know what it was, and you got to go see that tree. $25,000. Excuse me. Yes, they can get a grant, but you could buy supplies for the library. $25,000, and nobody knows about it. And everybody's laughing down there at the library. But I don't want to have anyone fired at the library to getting that information. And that's a shame. $25,000 for a tree. Number 2, bus shelters. Read what the paper said. You're going to vote on it. $10,000 per shelter. I had talked to Ms. Zamora about this. Don't pay $10,000 a shelter. You have in-house. You can build more shelters. And what happened to the west side of Brownsville? 0 shelters. Right now, if you go look for a shelter in the west side of Brownsville, you'll find 1. That's the only one I found, and that's at Garden Park. Nothing. Everything is southmost or central or in the north. But the west side, 0. I'm sorry. Are you going to put umbrellas for us? That's about it. And number 3, I asked for public information, and they had to bring an attorney's opinion. It is getting so difficult to get a simple answer about the farmer's market, the cost. It used to be very simple. I could go straight to Mr. Gonzalez and get that information. But it needs that the city needs to put that information in the internet so we won't have to bother the people at $15 an hour plus. I don't have that kind of money, and I told Estela on this. I don't have the money. I just want to find out what is the cost of the farmer's market that the city is providing. But it seems like you have put a big building block there, or fence, or whatever it is. But it's very difficult for me to find out this answer. You open a Pandora's box. Instead of just giving me the information, I just wanted to find out how much it was. I was not going to do anything, come here and yell and say, hey, you're giving a lot of free money. No, I just wanted to know. Now there is another fence. There's not a border fence, but we have a city fence that doesn't give the citizens the right to find this public open records. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Rest.
you. Anybody else? That's it? Okay, next item.
I think we have one more person.
One more, Mary Elizabeth Holman?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Mary Elizabeth Holman. I live in West Brownsville, and I'm very concerned to hear that the city is planning to close or move Fire Station Number 2 that is now located on West St. Charles Street in West Brownsville. This historic building contributes to the beauty of our area, and a working fire station with full-time firefighters stationed there is essential for our safety. I have a personal story to tell. Several years back, our light pole caught on fire behind our garage on the alley. We called 911 and we were told that it was just arcing and not to worry. So my husband had to run down to the Fire Station Number 2 on West St. Charles, pound on the door, and he got the firefighters to come over, and they put out the fire. So I'm very happy that that fire station was there. I know you're looking at plans for the whole city when you establish locations of fire stations, but please consider leaving Fire Station Number 2 in West Brownsville. We need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Holman. I don't think there is plans to relocate the Fire Station Number 2, but I will contact you and get you the information. Lenny, would you please contact her, provide the information? Okay, number 11.
Item number 11, consideration and action to authorize the acceptance and expenditure of the Governor's Division of Emergency Management Fiscal Year 2009 Homeland Security Grant Program awarded to the Brownsville Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security in the amount of $151,827.62.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, this is the request to accept the 2009 Homeland Security Grant for the City of Brownsville. The $151,000 plus that you see there is going to include funding for some portable radio equipment, a trailer-mounted generator for the Public Works Department to be used during disaster relief and hurricane-related issues, as well as some equipment for the Brownsville Police Department's bomb squad, some thermal imaging equipment for the Brownsville Fire Department. In addition to the $151,000, there will be additional funding coming to the city at a later point that'll be related to emergency and public safety communications to the tune of about $92,000. So grand total, we'll be looking at just under $250,000 in the Homeland Security Grant. But the request tonight is for acceptance of the $151,827.62.
Move to accept.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Motion's made by Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Triani. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff. 12.
Item number 12, consideration and action to approve a proclamation uniting the public institutions and community of Brownsville Borderplex to work together to implement the Imagine Brownsville Comprehensive Plan.
Honorable Mayor, we request this item be tabled tonight.
So moved.
Move
to table.
Before I call for a motion, does this require any money?
There will be a meeting on Thursday, Commissioner, with the task force, and that's up for discussion. And we will, that's why my reason for tabling is to come back with a clearer picture and a more thorough plan for you.
So this is going to cost us additional money from the $850,000 and all the personnel staff we contributed to putting this comprehensive
It's discussion
plan
right now, yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Now, I have no problem with the concept, okay? The problem I have, it doesn't have a time frame, and it doesn't have a financial plan to implement the comprehensive plan. If you're going to spend $850,000 and another $850 cash and another $850,000 in man hours putting the plan together that compiles all the plans of all the entities, and there's no benchmarks, there's no time frame, and there's no financial plan to execute the comprehensive plan, and you're asking for more money on top of the 850,000, I have a problem with that. But if it doesn't require money, I don't mind supporting the concept. But I need you to tell me it doesn't require money.
He can't tell, I can't tell you this time. There's discussion, Mayor, and basically we're in now the plan is complete, approved, we're in the implementation phase. Implementation will cost, in-kind contributions will cost dollars, but everybody, this is a community project, the citizens of Brownsville will benefit from this, so.
Are we paying more consultants? Are we paying more consultants? Is this going to require us to pay more consultants?
May I be acknowledged?
Wait, finish, please.
No, basically, I'm asking for it to be tabled.
Pardon me?
I'm asking for this item to be tabled, Mayor. I cannot answer your questions to financial commitment.
No, but I'm asking you if you're aware if this is going to require.
Yes, I'm telling you, yes, there is discussion that it will involve.
You answered my question.
Mayor, can we follow a proper protocol and go to a vote and then go to discussion? We're just talking, we're not even.
As the chair, I have the right to ask a question. Mr. Trahani, you want to ask something?
May I?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're recognized.
Just for clarification, it's my understanding that we're going to have a meeting on Thursday and that there's going to be entities from BISD, PUB, the city, the port, and is there anyone else?
The
college?
university.
The university is going to be there as well. They're going to discuss
And PUB.
implementation and participation as an intergovernmental unit for advancement of the Imagine Brownsville plan or comprehensive planning in general. A budget is supposed to be proposed, as well as a plan to proceed with various ideas, not only for just the Imagine Brownsville proposal, but also community support for various legislative issues. And that would be short-term. And that's my understanding that this is going to occur on Thursday.
Yes.
And I understand that the reason Mr. Medina wants to table this is so that he can become more informed and provide us a clearer picture of what's going on before we vote on this. Is that correct?
That's very correct. And basically also the most important part here is benchmarks. And that's something that will be come to fruition, and we're going to agree on those benchmarks. Because you want every plan needs to have some benchmarking and see to measure your success. So that's what's up for discussion.
Do you want to say something? Anybody else want to say something? Okay, since we don't have nothing before us that clearly.
Well, tonight
I
was
would
just
move
a
the table.
proclamation, but I want to give you a more thorough picture.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask for. We got a motion table?
Second.
Do I have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? And I
Aye.
appreciate you bringing it back when you got more information.
Thank you, Ben.
Item 13,
13.
consideration and action to sell a 0.7 acre right-of-way in an unused portion of Coffeeport Road south of FM 802 at the intersection of South San Marcelo Boulevard for the sum of $88,257.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, this is an unused portion of Coffeeport Road that's now abandoned with the improvements to 802. It's right in the intersection of San Marcelo, West San Marcelo, and Coffeeport. We received appraisals on this property, worked with the developer. This is a proposed site of a CVS pharmacy, and I'm recommending, along with city engineering staff, which we reviewed and came up with a calculation of $88,257 for this parts of an acre. So I think it's a fair price and will benefit the city with the new development.
Would you approve? We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Atkinson, second by Commissioner Zamora. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item. 14.
Item 14, consideration and action to award a term contract for linen services for city facilities for the city of Brownsville.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Staff recommendation is to award a term contract for linen services for city facilities of the City of Brownsville to River Linen of Brownsville, Texas, the low responsible bidder, for the stipulated prices on the tab sheet. This contract should be good for 1 year, expiring October 31st, 2010, with 2 additional years for extension. Funding for these services will be coming from each user's department's operating funds.
Okay,
Any
can we have
questions?
a motion? To approve?
So move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Atkinson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next
Consider-
item, please.
Item 15, consideration and action to award a contract for roof repairs at the commemorative Air Force facility located at Brownsville South Padre Island International Airport.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for roof repairs at the commemorative Air Force building, excuse me, located at the South Padre Island International Airport to Decorative Concrete Design of Brownsville, Texas, the low responsible bidder, for a base bid amount of $37,408.62. This is only for the base bid. It came under the engineer's estimate by $2,591. Funding, the contractor is obligated to finish this job within 90 calendar days. Funding for this project is available from the BCIC funds.
Okay, is action item? Can I have a motion?
Move to
I
approve.
motion approved. We have a motion approved, Commissioner Atkinson. Can I have a
Second.
second? Second by Commissioner Camarillo. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say this came through the BCIC. They applied for funding through the BCIC. Part of the process of getting the application and it going through the BCIC board, whether it warrant funding or not, and it was approved by all members of the BCIC. So that's where the money's coming from. It's coming from BCIC.
Any further discussion?
Is this the first time we work with Decorative Concrete Design?
That is correct.
Do they have a history, or in other words, they provided,
They provided references, and
Are they
we
a
had
fairly new company?
the architect looking at those references and checking on the back, doing a background check. Yes, that is correct.
thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, please.
Item 16, consideration and action to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of bus shelters and shelter equipment for the Brownsville urban system.
Staff recommendation is to award a term contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of bus shelters and shelter equipment for the Brownsville Urban System Department to Brasco Incorporated of Fort Smith, Arkansas, the low responsible bidder. The stipulated prices are attached in the agenda. It's approximately $250,356 only for this. For 23 of these benches, there's going to be another grant coming up later. That's why we made this into a term contract, so we can always come back and purchase more shelters. Funding for this term contract is available out of the Texas Department of Transportation. And the account number is 65-655-706.
Robert,
Yes, sir.
the gentleman brought up a point here, $10,000 per shelter. Are those the same type of shelters we see around the city?
These are going to be,
Mayor, this is the purchase price for the shelters, this is not for the installation. We haven't determined how we're gonna install this. I don't know where that price tag's coming from, but we're gonna consider installing them in-house through our Public Works Department.
In-house?
That is correct.
That's just something that we're gonna look at once we get all the once we get the
I
material.
don't have my packet here, so I'm wondering.
this is more or less how it looks, the design that we have. We have the single and
canopy?
the double. It comes with the canopy. It's got a solar panel on the top. It's got a trash receptacle. It's got the bay for the bicycles. And can you switch to the other one?
Does it have a heater and air conditioner?
You don't need a heater here in Brownsville. That's the other time.
How long do they last?
I'm sorry?
How long do they last?
How long do they last? According to the, can you pass me the package? Well, the warranty, the minimum warranty is
5 years.
It's 5 years, but they last longer than that. It's got a special coating or special paint, and it's a kit. What we're buying, it's a kit. They deliver, and we install it.
Oh, so it's not what we see around here with a block and cement?
No, sir. It's something different.
Will those eventually be replaced?
I'm sorry?
Will our older shelters be replaced with these eventually?
I would like
so that
to
there's some
have
uniformity?
Can you address this question, please?
Oh, you see these in big cities.
Downtown Los Angeles.
We are a big city now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I wanted to know the life expectancy of them and if the older shelters would eventually be replaced with these shelters for some uniformity.
Well, I mean, the shelters that we currently have been there, they were installed in 1999, so they're
They have a
going on
longer life
almost 10
expectancy.
years. They have a long-term life expectancy on these shelters. Personally, right now, I don't know what the life expectancy, but it'll be a long-term contract with them, and we can get you the specific year. I don't have that with me right now. But what we're doing is the shelters that we're currently removing, we are going to reinstall in other locations. So we're able to take them from one location and erect them in another location if we so, realign the route, or we need to, or we're no longer going to be providing that service. We'll have that flexibility to do that.
And how did you select the locations? I'm sorry, Margie. How did you select the locations where they're going to be
The
placed?
locations are selected as, which are our main generators that generate most riderships right now. We have two ways of detecting where our riders request. One of them is doing by boarding and alighting surveys, where we get surveys and they get on the bus, and we, anywhere where we have more than 25 people a day using a bus stop, it warrants a shelter. So we do that through our GFI fare box and through surveys, boarding and alighting surveys that we have to conduct.
The gentleman raised some concerns here. The city manager just addressed one of them. We're planning to do it in-house, so obviously.
For sure, the cement that's required will be done by a public works department.
Yeah.
And we feel that
And it's a kit that we're buying.
Yes, we feel that time permitting, we can get our crews
To put it
do the
together, to
majority of the
assemble.
installation.
Right.
So, okay.
The
That's-
concrete work will be done.
That's one thing that was answered. The other thing is that he had a concern about West Brownsville getting their share of shelters. Is there plans to do that?
Well, I think that under the new Freedom Grant, this is a fairly new grant that we started applying for. So we've applied for it twice and we've been successful. We will continue to apply for that grant. And the next area that we would apply for would be the West Brownsville area. But if any funding that is left over not utilized from these grants, we would place them in the areas that we've already identified. And one of the areas that we're working on right now is West Brownsville for the next coordinated call that would be coming for this grant. So we will probably apply for that grant probably during the summer. The grant comes out during the summer.
So Norma, in this grant, sorry to interrupt you, we don't have any going to West Brownsville, is that correct?
Well, some of them, no. Right now, as far as Westwood, it's going to be Jefferson and Central Boulevard.
Well, that's West Brownsville.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's an area.
Right.
But
Mr. Orestes is talking about deep West Brownsville, the Las Prietas area.
I'm familiar with the area he's
Yeah.
talking about because he's mentioned it many times.
Yeah.
So I guess Norma we need to get on it, and we need to hopefully get that, submit the grant for the next go around. One of the questions I've had, and I think I've asked at the last time we talked about shelters, was when the city went out for our request for
RFPs?
proposals, RFPs, and we talked about the company that currently provides the advertising for bus, and if I'm not mistaken, and this is a while ago, part of the agreement was that they would advertise and then they would build so many shelters for the city. Where are we with that? Because if I'm not mistaken, that was a significant amount of shelters that were supposed to be built, and I don't think we've seen anything.
well, I think.
And I could be wrong, but.
No, the way the way the contract was worded, that is, any shelters that would be built would be paid from the revenue that we would be generating. So at this point, we're not, we've got grant funds that we would want to utilize the money here and retain the revenue that we're generating from the advertising contract.
But that
because-
revenue is going where? Back to your M&O?
Yes, that's going back to, it reduces the city's local match contribution.
How come it doesn't go
It
to
is
general fund?
considered local match.
Well, I mean, my concern is if we approve a contract to advertise, and in that contract it stated that we would build shelters then that's what we should do. You know, because, you know, we hear of all the different complaints, and nobody wants to see an elderly individual waiting in the sun, or when it's raining, you can't go catch the bus. I hate to see that. So if it's because the city, you know, wants to lessen the subsidy that we provide to bus, well, that doesn't make any sense to me, because we've already approved a contract, and we stated that with those funds, we would build shelters. So somewhere along the line, something didn't get followed, and it should be followed.
Okay.
And that is a big concern for me, Norma, because again, that was part of the agreement.
Well, and I think that one of the understanding was that it was gonna have to be in an area where that it would warrant advertising, and there's some areas in our city that don't warrant the advertising in the community area. So most of the areas that that are warrant advertising, that would be revenue generating, are already, you know, we've utilized, we've identified other ones, but we haven't moved in that direction as well because of the lack of funds.
No, I understand the sites that have currently right now that have advertising, those shelters have been up for the longest time.
Right.
So the company can't come back and say, we built the shelter. Well, no, they didn't.
Right.
You know, really what they did is they put that sheet metal deal and they put the advertisement on. But those are not new shelters. And so
No.
that's, I guess we need to go back and look at that, because that is a big concern.
If I may.
We promise, Commissioner, to go back and look at the contract,
Okay.
and if you're correct, we'll work on that.
Appreciate
But
it.
I have, you know, I have a feeling that we're gonna be snagged with that. But the issue is that we are proactively working on obtaining funding to increase the amount, but the grant is telling us that we have to get the ones that we have pre-existing up to par. So that's what we're doing first. Now, we did approve for another grant, but it was mandated that we have it in the southmost area of the city, which we're gonna present to you later on. And obviously, we feel that the only part of the city that we need to look at is Las Pretas area and deep in the Olmito area.
Okay.
If
Thank
I
you very
may.
much, Commissioner Triani.
Norma, Charlie, I want to commend you all on the grant, because that is a way that we can free up funds. That is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I think that the concern Commissioner Camarillo has is that we want to make sure that we have accountability and that we're utilizing the funds in the best way possible. And I think that's his concern. So if there has been a reallocation or redistribution of the funds, just let us know so that we can keep the public informed, so there's not these kind of questions. I know that we've spoken many times about the shelter issue. We've talked about trying to make sure that we have the protection that we need for the public, and it's a need that we have. And I know that over by the Walmart, you know, you'll drive by there and you'll see people get dumped on by the rain, and it's, you know, it's sad.
Right.
So I really commend you for getting the grant, and definitely we need to reapply, and we definitely need to get as much money as we possibly can in for this issue, especially if it's grant money.
Right.
I think that's great. Thank you.
And like every grant money, we need the local match also to leverage those federal dollars. So we need to also come up with ways of how we can generate that local match. And like Mr. Cavalier explained earlier, by doing some of the work in-house, we will be able to capture that as in-kind local match that allows us to leverage those dollars. But with all that comes a lot of reporting requirements that we have to adhere to, and it creates additional work for staff, but we're willing to do that, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
I want to commend you on the shelters. I think they're far superior than what we got. They protect the
Right.
the
These will
people from
definitely-
the elements there very well, and they're better secured and lighted and everything else. And I think it's good money, well invested. Congratulations getting the grants, and Public Works, I'm sure, will do an excellent job, and we're grateful for that.
And
Thank you, Norma.
These benches are gonna have solar panels, right?
Some of them, again, are gonna have solar power. I mean, so we're moving in that direction, but, you know, we try to maximize what we can get with the dollars that we have, and also be able to put as many shelters out there.
Would you be able to advertise on these ones?
The ones that we're currently putting on, you know, there is an opportunity for advertising, but that's something that we're gonna have to work with a contractor, because they'll have to pay for that portion of it through the advertising firm.
Now, who's the contract for advertising with now?
Bus ads.
Bus ads. Who are
Bus
they?
ads, they're from Laredo.
Okay, we'll make sure that you know, if we're gonna do that, that we follow like Commissioner Camarillo
Right,
just
and we would
mentioned there.
we would
We
impose
hold
the
them
contract
accountable
on
there.
that.
Okay, thank you very much, Norm.
And Norm, again, I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I know it's hard, and we're trying to stretch the dollars, and so I'm not trying to come off, you know, hard on you guys. I just want to make sure that, you know, obviously we want more, and I know it's very difficult in these times, so, but I do appreciate all the work you guys are doing, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mayor,
I
and I think it's only fair that Commissioner Camarillo got the street, so I think it's only fair that I get the bus, the bus checks.
You got it, all right.
Yeah.
No,
This is-
the contract doesn't talk about shelters, it talks about benches, Commissioner, so
Yeah.
you want, your bench is not gonna have the shelter. The contract doesn't read anything about shelters, it reads about benches.
Mhm.
So if, you know, that's,
It's more specific
we
and
want-
geared to benches with
we're trying,
advertising on the back.
yeah, we're trying to work on getting the best
We need
product
shelters, right.
possible, and this is a shelter. The contract will talk about benches, so they're not gonna have a shelter. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
This,
you did come on pretty hard, yeah, you're right.
I apologize.
this is an action item. Can I have a motion?
Motion to
Motion by Commissioner Atkinson.
Second.
Have second by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 17.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Item
Norma.
17, consideration and
Robert.
action to award a
Item
contract.
17.
Consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of uniforms for use by the Brownsville Fire Department.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for purchasing and delivery of uniforms for the Brownsville Fire and EMS Department to Goals Incorporated of Lexington, the low responsible bidder, for the stipulated prices that are attached on the top sheet. The funding for this contract is available from the funds that are stipulated in there on the agenda. There's Fund 01-320-704, 01-321-704, 61-321-704, and 01-536-704.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Commissioner Triani, second by Commissioner Atkinson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Going back to item 16, this is a good example of how some people come here to complain and they don't have all the facts, and they took off before the presentation was made. They would have learned a lot if they had stuck around. It's easy for to come here and just criticize meeting after meeting after meeting, but there are some positive things happening. There are some good things happening. And if they would take the time to probably talk to the city manager or the commissioners on a one-to-one basis, maybe they can get the information for them, and the issue would be resolved before they come here and just start complaining. I hate to say that, but this is a very good example of how some people are misinformed, and they tell other people certain things that they really don't know what they're talking about. If they get the information first from the purchasing director, the city manager, or one of the commissioners, it would avoid a lot of the misunderstandings or misinformation out there. Okay, I just thought I want to point that out. Item 18.
Item 18, consideration and action to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of uniforms for use by the Brownsville Police Department.
This is similar to the previous agenda. But this contract is for the Brownsville Police Department, and it's also the recommendation is to Goals Incorporated once again to the stipulated prices on the top sheet. The funding for this contract will be available from the general fund from
Move
the
to approve.
Brownsville Police
Second.
Department.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Atkinson, second by Commissioner Triani. This discussion, action item. And we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 19.
Item 19, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of border crossing cameras for use by the Brownsville Police Department and other law enforcement agencies.
Staff recommendation for this agenda is to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of border crossing cameras for use by the Brownsville Police Department and other law enforcement agencies to ESI companies of Memphis, Tennessee, in the amount of $51,963.75. This purchase is, the funding is scheduled to be reimbursed at 100%, and the remaining $248.28 will be coming from the Brownsville Police Department Auto Theft Account 01-306-942. And there's the recommendation from Mr. Jeff Johnson, Assistant City Manager, and also the Police Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion And a second, any further discussion?
I'd like just a little bit more clarification as far as the use of these cameras.
Okay,
And
I
how
would
many
like to-
does Brownsville get? I'm sorry.
I believe two. There's
Yeah, the project that we're looking at is for 2 cameras. This is the first phase of a project that's gonna cover all of the bridges that are going southbound. The focus of these cameras is gonna be to pay attention to southbound traffic. This is basically phase 1 of this project, and we'll start the work, so to speak.
And this is going to be used to Amber Alerts, stolen vehicles?
Amber Alerts, stolen vehicles, narcotics trafficking, you name it. There's a wide variety of information that can be gathered from cameras based on traffic going into Mexico. And as was mentioned here, part of the focus of this grant is going to be that information will be shared between law enforcement agencies. It won't be held strictly by the Brownsville Police Department. Other law enforcement agencies with legitimate requests will have access to that information, whether they be local, county, state, or federal law enforcement agencies.
And the monitoring will be done at the PD?
The Brownsville Police Department.
Good. Big Brother will be watching. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 20,
Item 20, consideration and action to renew a contract for software maintenance and technical support for the Public Safety Information System for the Brownsville Police Department.
Staff recommendation is to award a renewal term contract for software maintenance and technical support for the public safety information system at the Police Department to Spillman Technologies out of Logan, Utah, in the amount of $96,146. The only difference on the cost renewal from fiscal year 09 to 010 is only $5,219. This contract will expire September 30th, 2010, and I will bring in another agenda next year to request an extension or renewal. Funding for these procurement or this renewal, it comes out of the system maintenance and technical support contract from fund account 01310-752.
Move to approve.
a
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, when was the last time this went out for RFPs?
This, the first time that we got this before City Commission was in 2004. That's when we got the software, the hardware, and the software.
So we've had
Which
the
is-
same company with this contract since 2004.
That
So
is
we've had
correct.
contract renewals every year.
What the thing is, they're the manufacturer and they're the sole source of this software. It's a software and hardware component.
Commissioner
No.
Levesque?
After-
Ms. Fish?
Not on this issue.
Oh, no decision. Okay. Thank you. All in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Before we adjourn, you did have a presentation on the H1N1 virus. Would you like to do that? Or would you like-
We had a presentation by Dr. Bodie and Dr. Hussein at the Brownsville PD at the Military Highway. It was a good presentation, and it was not as well attended as I would like to have seen on such an important subject. But they are going to have another one. We're trying to schedule one at the mall within the next couple of weeks. I would like to see the community get more informed on this and go to these presentations, because I think the H1N1, it's a scary thing. There was a lot of things we didn't know last year that now we know, and I think we can be better prepared. So I encourage the community to be alert on this. These presentations are being given out through the city, and go and hear these presentations. I think you will learn a lot about the H1N1, how to protect your family, and perhaps reduce the risk. That's it. Thank you very much.
Move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.